All right, here in Jacksonville with Jeff Howe from The Athletic. Jeff, what did we witness? What did we see?
Yeah, it's become a maddening, seemingly annual tradition for the Patriots to either get thoroughly defeated or to come out flat against an inferior team. Obviously, it was more of the former against the Jaguars here. I mean, it was a one-sided game almost from start to finish. And you can trace back to 2014 when they did the same thing in Miami and then had that Monday night collapse debacle against the Chiefs. Last year in the season opener against the Chiefs. There were examples in 2010, 11, 12. I mean, this team routinely does this, and then they kind of bounce back from it. So I don't know why they have to get this out of their system early, but it's something that keeps happening.
So this particular game, how and why did they get down 24-3? And let me add this in. We were in the locker room. I asked every guy I saw, did you not match their intensity at the beginning? They didn't say yes, but they might as well have said yes. They didn't match the intensity at the beginning.
Well, yeah, and you know what? Credit to the Jaguars because they talked a big game all week. I mean, Miles Jack, I think, said it was the biggest game of his career. And they came out and they showed that. You know, sometimes you can talk yourself into basically a hole by the time game time comes around. They come out nervous, but they didn't. And that was a credit to the Jaguars and taking advantage of this environment. But then, I mean, it was really about simple execution. I mean, there were, the shallow crossers. The Patriots were getting caught in traffic and coverage, picks and rub routes off the line of scrimmage. And the Jaguars were making big plays off them. They had 10 plays of at least 15 yards in this game. So it was that. Blake Bortles was scrambling on third down. Adrian Claiborne got too deep in his rush lanes on all three of the scrambles for third down conversions. So again, execution right there. On offense, I mean, it was... You knew you were going to struggle because their defense was so good. But I didn't understand some of the lack of urgency, not going for it on 4th and 1 late in the fourth quarter. I can see the reason behind it, but at that point, be aggressive. So there were, some things that they'll look at and they'll figure it out.
Blake Bortles, you mentioned his name. I think he's an underrated quarterback. I think this game meant a lot to him. Talk about the way he played in this game.
He played well, and I mean, he missed some throws, as he will. He's not the most accurate passer in the world, but you can tell he's a leader. He makes a lot of good decisions. I mean, take out that interception late in the game. That was an ugly one. But again, when there was a play to be made on the ground, he made it. He would dive head first. Not advised, but I mean, that's something that gets this rah-rah type of team fired up. And he is really like the perfect leader. I mean, he's not the perfect quarterback, but he is a good, solid leader for this team. And you can tell that he's got the intangible elements. But again, they converted 8 of their first 9 third downs. And that's how you build a 24-3 lead. And a lot of it was because of Bortles.
Why didn't we see Gronk involved in this offense early on, more often, and throughout the whole game?
Yeah, I think it was sort of twofold. Number one, they have great athletes over the middle of the field. Telvin Smith, Miles Jack at linebacker. Their safeties are competent, so they can at least hold up the back end. And then, again, you can really flood the middle of the field if you're the Jaguars because you're so great at cornerback on the outside. You man up those outside guys and then just, again, flood the middle of the field against Gronk. And then the other side of it is the pass rush was really getting to Brady. And it was harder for Brady to sort of step up in the pocket the way he likes to extend plays. And that's when he's able to hit Gronk for the big ones. It's just, again, twofold mix. It was a perfect storm for the Jaguars.
Quick comment about their lack of receivers. No surprise. We know that's been a storyline all year. It's game 2 without Julian Edelman, 2 more games without Julian Edelman. And these are really good cornerbacks for Jacksonville. But clearly, even though Chris Hogan had 2 touchdowns, their lack of receiver depth and lack of impact receivers is huge on this offense right now.
Yeah, Hogan got going late, but it wasn't early enough, obviously. And Philip Dorsett is a nice complementary piece, but if either one of those guys goes down before Edelman comes back, they're in a lot of trouble. And they don't have, I don't think the Jaguars have great receivers, but there were some big play ability that they showed when they're catching the ball on the run. The Patriots didn't really get a whole lot of that going. So, how do you kind of manufacture for a deficiency? You try to utilize Gronk, who, again, we talked about, couldn't really get going. The running backs, they are capable pass catchers out of the backfield. Burkhead, White, and now Michel. It didn't focus or didn't revolve around them as much as I kind of thought it would, or at least not early enough. So again, when you're trying to overcompensate for a lack, in one area, and you're not able to execute in the other areas, that's when you see what you saw tonight.
You mentioned Michel. We got our first taste and look of Sony Michels. He got his first taste of NFL football. He didn't look out of place, Jeff. Good first impression.
It was. It wasn't a dynamite game, but against this defense, I didn't expect that. And especially for a guy who didn't play all preseason, had the procedure on his meniscus back in early August. You knew he was going to miss about a month and a half. And again, to run like that against this defense was impressive. He showed a lot more physicality. I mean, you know he's electric. And this is a guy who I was told before he was even fully cleared to come back for practice a few weeks ago that this kid's special with the ball in his hands. And they have huge, huge long-term hopes for him. And again, once he sort of gets the mental aspect of the game, he could be dynamite down the stretch.
Let's finish where you started. The bounce back factor. They have these games early in the year. They always bounce back. Well, give me another reason besides history that they've done it before that they're going to bounce back again, Jeff. Guys are getting older.
Schedule plays in their favor because they got Detroit next week, and that team looks like an absolute disaster. So not only can they bounce back, they can do it in front of a national audience, sort of send a message to the league that, hey, you know what, this is one bad game, but you can kind of spin it forward and get some momentum going. They have a good team. They're still, I mean, despite what we saw today, I believe the Patriots can be the best team in the AFC by the end of the season. Now, it might come through Jacksonville again, but this is a team that historically, I know you said ignore history, but historically, this is their bad month, and they improved down the stretch. And I have no reason to believe, because it's such a veteran group, most of these guys are well accomplished in this system. The talent's there. You know, again, if they stay healthy, they should be fine.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Jeff Howe, The Athletic.